Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Three Crones in the Woo Woo. I am your Dragon Slayer crone, Gayle Nicholson with Gayle, Creative Command Coaching and Consulting, and also GayleNicholson.com, but I never say that part. To my side, I have Miss Krista Ducharme with Dimensional Healing with Krista on Facebook, and as always, supporting us from below, we have Damaris Samolinski with Ask the Genie with Damaris Samolinski. Hello, ladies. How have you been this week?
Doing well.
Fantastic. How about you, Krista?
I'm doing very well overall. Thank you so much. You guys missed it. I had a dance show going on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Kevin heard the music and he started dancing.
Nice. That's
So
very
he's like, move that spirit.
awesome.
So funny.
That is awesome.
He's
Well,
so
welcome
funny.
everybody, including Kevin and Harry. Thanks for being here, Harry. We are also, I kind of caved and got off my soapbox about these awful fucking chat things that pop up every time you do an event. And we have a live chat on Facebook right now. So if you want to go in there and make a comment, say hello and everything, that's awesome too. But please do comment and share the YouTube broadcast right now, because that is our main focus lately. So thank you so much for joining us. Come on in, have a seat, make yourself comfortable, say hello in the chat, let us know that you're here, whether it's live or on the replay. I feel like I'm very dim over here. Anyway, so thanks so much for joining us this week. Well, we've got some stuff going on, don't we, Damaris?
Yes, we do.
We do. I don't want to necessarily get into the politics of things, but there is, this indictment that's going on.
Has it ever been done before?
No, it has never been done before.
Never been done before.
We've never. I don't know if it's illegal or if there's just no precedent for.
I think so.
For arresting a sitting president or president. Yeah. I always get those two.
A president.
That.
No, there's no precedence.
I think it's illegal to do that.
Right.
It's not. If he's, it's not that it's illegal. It's that there's no precedent. No precedence. Okay. When they're active as president, it's one of those. It's frowned upon. However. You only have it for so long.
Yeah.
Well, what if they commit a crime?
I didn't know if it was illegal to arrest a sitting president or if it was custom that we don't, right?
I thought that it was illegal.
I don't think that it's legal or illegal. It's, I believe, custom.
Okay.
I would have to double check my law on that. That's not I don't know. Kevin may know it. He covered constitutional law.
Right. And that's
but I know it's never happened
before. That's the matter of precedent. But it was also a question for me of, do we actually have in the Constitution somewhere or in some executive order where it has been declared that a sitting president may not be arrested? Or if it's just that it's never happened, right?
It's just that it's never happened.
Yeah.
It's never happened.
And depending on who you talk to or people's particular points of view, he's no longer a sitting president. So does that make him fair game, right? And it's always been kind of a, well, you gotta pick the hill you want to die on, because nobody gets to the Oval Office without getting dirty hands. I don't care who you are. Right? Nobody gets that far up without making some deals that could come back to reflect poorly upon you.
But then that speaks of all of the prior presidents.
So does that open a Pandora's box of, well, you arrested our guy, we're gonna,
right. And
even if there's nothing
that's going to happen.
So point of order. Point of order.
Yes.
I'll bring this to the formal function of it. It's not. My sense and what I've been listening to over here is it has only a small amount to do with the whole what we'll say the Stormy Daniels issue.
Yeah.
A lot more of it, New York has been building for years.
Yeah.
In years.
It's a
in years. And did I mention years? Yeah. Yeah, because of other things that have gone on. So my sense is that this is that big boulder, or that little rock that started at the top of the hill that has grown into this massive.
I just really think, in my perspective, that it's going to open up Pandora's box.
Oh, I'm sure. I have no doubt. But here's the really interesting thing. He's the one who kept making claims that people need to be held accountable.
They all will, because everything that's hidden will be unearthed.
And that's exactly, I'm not saying that it's, it'll be interesting.
It will definitely be.
But definitely, I found it curious that when when Pluto went into Aquarius, I'm playing, and everything
back in June into
Don't confuse her. Let her go, because she's just learning these things.
I'm just learning. I'm trying to comprehend in my little pea brain here. Oh, actually, not
it went into Aquarius, but in June it's going to retrograde.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Don't confuse her. She's talking about.
That's right. I know that it's going to go into retrograde. I remember that. So this is where I was going with it. I find it very curious that actually, New York, the state of New York, or New York City, or however it is, is actually put forth the indictment already, and it's in retrograde, right? Or not in retrograde. Pluto is in Aquarius, right? Now, what I'm with that all in mind, knowing that, of course, Jupiter's going to go, not Jupiter. Why am I saying Jupiter? Pluto's going to go retrograde again, right?
Back in the other sign.
Into Pisces.
No. Capricorn.
Back into Capricorn. Okay, see. So I'm telling you, people, I'm looking forward to this circus. It's going to be very interesting. I'm just like, oh boy,
anything. I'm not believing anything. I'm not, going. I'm going to watch all of this, doing popcorn until January of 2024.
See, I'm watching it with popcorn as well. I'm like, give me my popcorn. I'm just like, this is good. Popcorn and beer.
It's going to be good.
Yeah. It is. It's going to be amazing.
Here's the thing that's very, very interesting about this, because one of the coincidences, anytime that you've got a huge thing like this happening in the media, and the media is going, look at this, look at this, look at this, you can bet the left hand's over here doing something.
100%.
Right? And we want to look at the fact that Russia and China are collaborating and pulling out of the oil-based dollar. And that is humongous.
Yes,
the U.S. has gone and destroyed countries over them going with the gold standard. And Russia and China are the two countries that are big enough that they can't, right? We can't just go and flip their regime like we have in the past. No. Right?
Yes. You're right. You're right.
I've never tried pepper jack popcorn.
It's good. We tried it the other night. It was really good.
Yep. Oh, yummy.
So there's that, right? That we're being distracted while this other stuff is going on. Yes. Now keep this in mind too, because for a lot of years, people who read the book of Revelations, they're talking about an army of 144,000. Mm-hmm. China is the only country on the planet that can amass a standing army of that many people and have the mentality as a country that they can put it in, right?
Yeah.
And keep in mind also that Russia is not part of Europe, it's part of Asia. Mm-hmm. Right? Continentally speaking, it's an Asian country. All right.
Well, continentally speaking, it's both.
What?
Continentally speaking, it is actually both.
Fair enough.
But they haven't been playing nicely over on this side of the world. So they're actually, I think, trying to formulate relationships on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. So I just think that it's definitely popcorn worthy world events, and we're going to talk a little bit later in my segment about releasing attachment, to not getting too like rah this side, because it's gonna be like Who Shot JR level of nighttime primetime drama.
Yeah.
Or so, right? Because right now, like you were starting to allude to, Krista, the indictment of Trump happened during Pluto in Aquarius.
Yeah.
So we got to look at that as this is forwarding consciousness. This is forwarding humanity. This is forwarding. It's the catalyst that's going to bring about that back and forth on the upper political levels of, you want to fuck with my guy, I'm going to fuck with your guy.
100%.
And all of that stuff is going to come out and be destroyed between June and January.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, you're getting it.
Yeah. So again,
that'll be interesting. It'll all be interesting. So one of the things also to keep in mind, I'll go down a little bit of history here. So when systems start to do what our systems are doing, democracies begin to crumble. So you have to decide how you're going to want this to play out. And when I saw a very interesting meme today, and I can't remember who it was that was the face behind, but is an actor, and I can't remember the actor. But it doesn't matter. What the message is growing up, we were taught the difference between right and wrong. However, today, with everything that's going on, it's many people who are doing wrong, trying to convince everybody that they're doing right.
And that's everybody.
And so I was like, that is very profound, but yet so true.
Yeah, but that's globally, right?
Oh, well, yes, it is. It's very much a global thing, because there are things that you guys probably don't get on your news in the U.S. Well, I know you don't, because I watch U.S. news as well as European news and around the world. And there are things that are happening, and it just makes you, pause and definitely appreciate what you were saying about everything with Pluto going, being in Aquarius. However, what's also very interesting is because Capricorn is also another one of those really intense.
Oh yeah, it rules leadership, government. It rules all of that. It rules,
and so it's going to be even more interesting because like the Capricorns I know, they're very regimental, if you will. Everything has to be very
organized.
It's very fixed and very organized. That's the way they think. That's the way they operate. Which is awesome. It's something to envy in so many ways.
Of course.
I mean, I'm like,
my chart, I need some stability, some fixated stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, it is a very good sign.
It is. It's a great
sign.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think it's going to be such a great, it's so many things. So like when Pluto was in Capricorn, a lot of other things came up, and a lot of, I believe Pluto was in Capricorn when Russia went into
2008. Ukraine. It was in Capricorn. It went in 2008.
Okay, so ultimately, think of all the things that have occurred. Yeah. Historically speaking, since then.
I just want to point out that Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So now Saturn and Pluto in the same house. I want to explain to you that Saturn is the Lord of karma, the Lord of law and order. And then Pluto is going to destroy whatever is not working, whatever is not sustainable. And then the Saturn energy will make sure that everybody will be held accountable, whoever did wrong.
So when you want to look back and like you were starting to say, Krista, between 2008 and now.
Oh, yeah.
All of the institutions, literally the institutions of the United States and possibly other countries as well. But, you know, my worldview is the United States, right?
Yeah.
Have been feeling their karma, if you will.
Yep.
Okay. So the banking industry, they failed. They got bailed out by the government, but then now we're getting another spate of the bank failings, right? And the government's not bailing them out this time. We've had the medical industry dealing with the coronavirus, right? And creating vaccines and viruses and all of that shit's coming back to haunt them.
That's right. That's
and
right.
Now every politician in America is quaking in their boots because they know that their head can still be on the chopping block now.
100%. Also, just in 2008, we had the crash of the housing market.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah.
And we also had Obama went into presidency in 2008.
Yeah.
So all those things went into play around that there. And now when Pluto goes back into Capricorn, it's going to revisit everything from when it went into Capricorn. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, and then it gets out of retrograde
January 24th of 2024.
Yeah. Good.
Is it January 24th or is it January of 24? I know there's a.
I think it was the 24th, if I'm not mistaken, Gayle. But if you find something different, you can correct me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't remember, but it's going to be I just wanted to make sure it doesn't interfere with our retirement. That's all.
No, it's going to be
very, how selfish of me, right?
Every world leader should be making their plans based on astrology.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm just making sure.
January 22nd.
22nd. I knew it was around the 20th.
Yeah.
So
January 22nd, June 11th through the January 22nd. So
that's powerful.
It is.
Yeah.
Holy snapdragons.
You can't make this stuff up.
No, you can't. This is better than any evening soap opera.
See, I don't watch the news that much. I look at the planets because they're more truthful to me.
Well, but what's
discrimination has something to do with that.
But the entertaining part, I kind of have to watch some of what's going on.
Yeah,
helps me understand what certain people I know are doing.
Yep. And kudos to you for being able to skirt this relationship or this conversation so well.
Yeah.
All right. So let's focus in on actually what we're here for today. Besides that, although that's very much also what we're here for today, is helping you guys navigate what seems to be going on and what's really going on. So let's talk to Damaris about what's really going on.
All right, so we still have that Libra and Aries thing going on, that duality, if you will. We have
Tell me about it.
We have a full moon in Libra on the 6th, which is when? 2 days.
2 days from now, which means we're in that energy, y'all.
We are, but also keep in mind when you're doing your work, it's like just after midnight onto the 6th. So the 5th, you're doing prep work, do it on the 5th. Okay, just after sunset. So go ahead.
When do we have the moon in Wu?
We already had it on Monday.
The next one is the 10th.
Yes. Okay, so the Libra energy is opposing the Aries sun, and Jupiter is in Aries, and the Chiron is in Aries. We spoke about that a little bit last time because we had the moon, we had the new moon, right? In Aries last time, right?
Right.
So, and we have an eclipse in Aries on the 20th. So everything is going to come to a culmination. You know that Aries is ruled by Mars, so it's an explosive planet. You know, it is. It's just the energy is explosive. I think of the Tower card in the tarot when I think of that energy. And so you know, Aries as a characteristic or an archetypal energy has to learn to balance the ego, because the ego is very, very strong sometimes on certain people. And that's what creates wars. That's what, you know, creates issues on the planet. You know, that ego, I want to be right type of energy. And the Libra needs to be self-sufficient as well. It doesn't need like to always be, you know, partnering. And I love the topic for today because it matches so well with this. Because, you know, Libra does need to detach. Libra should focus on self-awareness. It should focus on, you know, not needing that approval from someone else, because Libra is all about relationships. So it feels like it needs people. It feels like it needs partnerships. You know, it does, but it doesn't. And so it needs to learn that. So there's this duality there going on between those two signs. And we all have those two signs in our chart, you know, so there is an aspect of our lives there's a duality. You know, we can be very aggressive in some areas of our lives, or very passive. You know, it would be like that. Libra could be passive and the energy of Aries could be aggressive. So there's that passive aggressive. Libra is all about justice. It's all about balance. It's all about harmony, peace. And it aligns with the number as well, the number 6, because that's what the 6 wants. So it's, you know, it could take a lifetime for people to balance these energies, to be quite honest. You know, I've had in my life, and I'm sure you guys have in your lives, people that you just clash with, that you just can't seem to come to an agreement or compromise. And, you know, those relationships don't work, whether it is romantic relationships or friendships or whatever. I had a client that came this Sunday. And it's so funny because the woman is a Libra, the man is an Aries. It is just crazy. And they are always fighting. They can't get along. And I said to him, you're going to have to lower your ego if you want this to work. And you're going to have to find some backbone if you want this to work. You know, I said to her, because it's just, you know what I mean? It's the energy. When you think about it in a global sense, look at all the people that, you know, I mean, look at the gun violence that we're having, right? Why are we having so much gun violence, right? I feel that, you know, it's not the gun, it's the people using the gun. So maybe mental health, it's needed, you know? So that's my opinion. But, you know, angry people with a gun, I don't think it's a good mix.
No, agreed.
Yeah.
But I also think that there's a lot to be said for people that have been reprogrammed and pre-programmed and activated.
You know, Gayle, I think you and I are such on the same page as this, because I definitely agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. The Middle East is not the only country that has worked on sleeper cells. You know, we're not blameless. And it's unfortunate, but like you said, it's my opinion. I have nothing to back that up with other than just watching over the years.
Yeah, me too.
You know?
Me too.
And how it changes, who the shooter is, how that changes, depending on the political environment.
Yes.
They're in, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the reality is that, you know, we're at odds. You know, the especially this country. I mean, and that's that energy of the Aries and the you know, Aries is ruled by Mars, Libra is ruled by Venus. I feel like ultimately the Venus energy is going to win, you know, because it's all about love and compassion and understanding, which is really what the number is about too. It's showing you that, you know, the number 6 is about, you know, understanding, going from passion, sometimes not passion, you know, the passion that you have inside for, you know, art or whatever, but passion of the flesh, let's say, to compassion. And so I feel that ultimately this, you know, this energy of Venus is going to get us where we need to be. It's going to take a while, and we're going to see a lot of bloodshed. Let me just use that word because of that Mars energy. But, you know, if that's what it takes, then that's what it takes.
Gotcha. Great report. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's really very interesting, I think, where all of this is taking us, and especially this new energy for the Libra full moon. I think there's a lot to consider for you guys out there, and what you're looking at, what you need to release, and letting go of. And for those of you who were in Moon and Woo this past Monday with us, we've given you a little bit of insight as to what themes to start working on. Krista recently, in the last couple of days, posted a worksheet. Did you do that to the general list or just the Patreons?
Just our Patreons.
Just our Patreons. So if you want this deeper level, if you will, of understanding the transits of the moons and how to make them work, not just the stuff that we're talking about that, kind of flies out of your, ear after the show is over, right? Sign up for our Patreon, Amethyst level, because you'll get a little bit more to it. You'll get tools that you can use to make it concrete in reality, what you're working on, and you'll be able to track back as well that the changes that you are trying to make for yourself. Right?
I can add something before we give it on to Krista. So Libra should ask themselves, how am I being supported by others? And if they're not really being supported by others, then they should, just like your topic says, learn to detach. You know what I mean?
Detach and let it go.
Yeah, let go and let God, really, right? So Libra should ask themselves that question, because they feel like they need that support. They rule relationships. So if they're not feeling supported by the people they care about, their loved ones, their friends, whomever, then they need to let that go.
Right.
That's what they need to release.
Awesome. All right, cool. Let's do this. I gotta find a way to strip just Krista's window from the behind the scenes thing and send it over to
Why?
I have her do
He's
a reel of just her dancing.
Yeah, I'm just over here and I'm dancing away.
Right?
Dancing away. Yeah.
Maybe I can figure out how to do a green screen and superimpose over her intro. So she's around on the screen. Yeah. All right.
That could be fun. That could be fun. Okay, so today's crystal of the week it's a lot of fun. I don't want to say it's a lot of fun. It's a great stone. And it's one that kind of surprised me because I've actually used this one for years. And it's Lodestone. So Lodestone it's one I use whenever I do a crystal healing. I use it paired up with actually a crystal point. And so for me, because I've used it, it is a great stone for grounding. And when I'm doing actual crystal healings and stuff. So I never have thought beyond that, really, with what you could possibly do with Lodestone, because I used it in one way. So having Lodestone be our actual stone and our crystal for this week forced me to have to go and do some research. And what's really interesting is there really isn't a ton of research on Lodestone, mainly because it's also known by another name. And so here we go. I'm going to make sure. Oh, there it goes. Because it's naturally magnetic, it is also known as magnetite. Magnetite. Or magnetite.
Yeah.
Magnetite. Sorry.
Magnetite.
Like magnetite. That's not a word. Magnetite. So it's really, I'm sorry, my brain, I was sitting out in the sun today. You'd think I would be thinking better. But magnetite, it's a really cool one because it actually attracts to small, it actually attracts to the iron that's within our blood, which is why it's such a great, it's such a great grounding stone. However, what I've looked up and what I've seen is it's a stone that is also brings a powerful positive and negative polarity. So it gives you both all in one, which of course I probably knew this when I went through my crystal class. I just probably don't think about it because I just work with it the way I do. So I dove down a little bit further and I was like, so if we're going to, what is it actually sharing with us? You know, what's the meaning? And then thinking about everything that was coming up, just, you know, global events, not just the US, I was really, you know, attracted to the fact that one of the things that it does and what it brings forth for us is it attracts love, loyalty, and commitment.
Nice.
And so the other thing that it also is really great with is it helps with transmuting anger, grief, sadness, depression, and fear.
It goes great with everything we've been talking about.
Yes, exactly. So, hello, woo is present in the building.
We're in the vortex.
Right? Because the more I was reading about how it helps us to process our emotions and to bring back or bring a balance by, you know, because of its polarity of negative and positive, or positive and negative polarity, it really is a great stone to find that balanced point of view. And currently, with everything that we're talking about and everything that's going on, and knowing that Pluto is going to go back into retrograde, and for me, I really have a sense of the importance of that when I sit with it. I mean, the minute you talked about Pluto going back in retrograde, I'm like, oh.
6 months, right?
Yeah, because that's for me. I feel that. So knowing that you have something like Lodestone. So Damaris, you were talking to me about, Krista, you need to give everybody a great answer, right? With the stones.
Yes.
Pretty much, if you have a piece of Lodestone, use it. It will balance and it will counter whatever stone that you're using, because that's what it does. It's a balancer. But the really cool thing is, like Gayle was saying earlier, is to try not to get connected or attached to anything.
Yes.
And this is also because it keeps you
I need one of those.
Yeah. And so you want to, this is a great stone to have. As a matter of fact, it's kind of funny. I brought it in for the show, and I've been playing with it and holding it since I've come on to the show or before. And the one thing I am realizing is just how, I don't want to say how much clearer my energy is becoming, but I'm definitely getting a sense of calm so that I can process with I don't want to say I'm processing with more compassion.
I love that, Krista, because that's exactly what we need to have.
Yes, I'm processing with compassion rather than trying to be reactive, because when you can process with compassion, you become proactive, not reactive.
Mm-hmm. Also, I want to say, right, with the Aries energy, it's all about individuality, and with the Libra, it's all about relationships. And so it's a matter of blending that together, knowing your individuality, but also being able to be in relationships and not think that you're right all the time, or that it's your way or the highway.
But I am right.
And there starts the problem.
Thankfully, I'm just kidding.
I know.
Although I don't know. My kids were on there like, Mom is always right. But
some people aren't, they want to be right and rather than be happy,
Yeah.
Oh, honey, we could talk. We could talk.
Gayle.
Oh, it's been an interesting Aries season at work. I discovered that one of my coworkers is an Aries, and I went, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's energy.
And yeah, it is, and it's pretty, and it's gotten
intense.
Yeah, very intense.
Well,
in her particular world, it went from, oh, I'm going to be assertive to I'm aggressive. And she's getting the karma back at her for the aggression.
Yeah.
And it's not pretty. And I'm just like, all right, just don't get any on me.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. But, the issue is like, how do we have these relationships with difficult people? You know what I mean? How do we, sometimes we need to. What?
Yeah, release. You can have relationships with people that are difficult, but you don't have to attach to what
maturity, though.
And what it is. You're right. It does take maturity.
Right. What it takes is a willingness to look at where you're being codependent. Because letting that other person's emotional life impact what your life is, right?
Yeah.
And when you can release the attachment to how that person feels about whatever, right? Then they can go be whatever way they want to be in your life, but it's not impacting you.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
That's true.
It makes a lot of sense, but I still think it needs maturity on the individual.
Well, there's the unevolved in every sign and the involved in every sign.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. It does take some sense of maturity that doesn't necessarily come as a construct of age. But,
No, but one of the other things for a different word for maturity is it takes responsibility.
The ability to respond.
The ability not just to respond, but the ability to say, oh, I'm responsible for my own reaction to this conversation. I can't control the outcome of what's going to happen. However, I can control how I react. 100%. And that is a level that is something that it should be taught. However, it's one of those Hardway Jones lessons, as my grandfather would have called it.
Yeah. But to an unevolved Aries, they have a short fuse, and they seem to have no patience as well. That's one of the characteristics. So they're gonna snap. They're not gonna, say, "Let me take responsibility." They're just gonna react.
And depending on what the strong suit that particular Aries developed, that reaction can show up a lot of different ways. It might not show up in fireworks. It might show up in passive aggressive poutiness.
Yes.
Yes. They might not say a word, but their energy speaks volumes.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. That's one thing about Aries is that they act before they think. They think afterwards. Then they're like, "Oh crap! What did I do that for?" But by then it's too late.
Yeah. The bell can't be unrung.
No.
Oh,
that is true.
It
could take years for this to balance itself out. And I think it will. We got 21 years.
Woo! Let's hope it speeds up at the beginning here.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, we could help, right? Like if we take our, like Krista was saying, our own responsibility for our own stuff, and then teach others to do the same. Hopefully they will do the same, and then it hopefully it speeds up that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially, I think, with an unevolved Aries.
Oh gosh.
You cannot teach by rhetoric. You cannot tell them the better way, because they already know that their way is the best way, and why aren't you doing it their fucking way?
Exactly.
Okay. But you can model better behavior, releasing the attachment to whether they figure it out to pick that behavior up or not.
Yeah, it's like planting seeds in a garden.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Krista, will you tell us a little bit more about what's coming up with Patreon?
Sure. So first of all, I want to thank everybody who is part of our Patreon Coven of Joy members. And with what's coming up, as you know, we do have 2 levels. We have the citrine level, which is a wonderful way to help support us. We also have the amethyst level, which actually gets you a little bit more attention from the 3 of us, because you get to join Moon and Woo, which we meet twice a month. We will be having our next one this upcoming Monday, which will be April 10th. We'll be discussing the new moon in Gemini.
Believe it's in Aries, right?
The new moon is in Libra.
In Libra.
The new moon.
That already.
The next moon in Woo on Monday the 10th will be for the new moon.
The new moon, which will be in Gemini. Is that right? Or is
Let me check.
Yeah.
I didn't write it. I don't have my magnet here. And you can all order magnets that have Moon and Woo and the dates and all the awesomeness of things happening, except I didn't put the Pluto retrograde. I really should have done that. And all the crystals of the week. And you can reach me. You can have both of them for $11, which includes mailing. So let me know and I will get those out to you. So yeah, I forget what moon it is. It's new moon. What's our next sign? Because we're
in moon for one thing.
It'll be, yeah, I said new moon.
I know we have the eclipse on the 20th.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so that will be, it might be Aries. Because what was our last new moon?
It wasn't Aries.
So yeah, what's the next? So what's our next astrologer?
The moon enters Aquarius on the 11th of April at 4:42 p.m.
So, but the new moon is not Aquarius. The new moon's Aquarius?
That's what my sheet's saying. Hold on.
I'm like, okay, because the new moon's, yeah, it could be. I'm like, I thought the new moon was the next astrological sign. So there you go.
It would be Aquarius. The new moon is in Aquarius, April 11th at 4:42.
Okay. So I learned something new. The new moon will be in Aquarius, and that's what we'll be talking about.
Yeah, yeah, because it does pass through a number of signs in its quarter stages. So it's not like it goes right to the next house, if you will.
The moon spends 2.5 days in one sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
So every 2.5 days it switches.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So
I learned something new. You guys, astrology is not my house, not my wheelhouse. I can do
learning.
Not your ass. Because
I'm trying.
Wheelhouse.
It's not my wheelhouse.
It sure is.
Oh, I love geeky witch puns.
Yay! Oh boy.
Awesome. You know, I used to think before I started studying astrology that, I'm a Virgo, and I have a Leo rising and an Aquarius moon, and that was it. And then when you start learning, you realize you have everything inside that wheel.
Yeah.
So it affects us.
Even a lack of something in a certain house, even a lack of has a meaning to it. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So this is why astrology never works for most people, because most people don't get past that first or second level where it's my sun sign is, or my sun sign, my rising sign, and my moon sign are, and that's as far as we go. And then the daily horoscope, 3 sentences in the newspaper, there's like 0.000% of people that's actually accurate for on any given day.
Yeah.
The rest of us are going to be like, yeah, you're full of it. And that's what they want you to believe. That
exactly.
because you won't look into it any deeper. You won't gain the power that's available to you. The knowledge is power, to be able to actually make good choices and so on, because you don't know what all these other little things are. I'm finally getting to the level where I'm looking at the asteroids and stuff and going, oh my God. Chiron it was new for me in the last year.
You mean there are asteroids as well?
Right? It's the inner child.
Yeah.
Well, I heard. Okay, so all right. I heard about the moon, the Lilith moon. What's the Lilith?
The Black Moon Lilith.
Black Moon Lilith. What is that?
I'll be able to explain a little bit more later. Because I'm editing Joanne's article about it, so I'll be able to explain that a little bit more. But it's really actually pretty important. So for those of you who may not know. Do you guys know who Lilith is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So for some people who don't know, Lilith is basically Adam's ex-wife.
Yeah. She's the original Eve.
Mm-hmm. And because she was made of her own stuff, right? Yeah. She felt equal to Adam and demanded her equality, if you will. And she got difficult. So she got kicked out of the garden, and God made another animal out of the rib of Adam to be at his side and a helpmate and subservient and not demand equal privilege. So yeah, Lilith became the bitchy ex-wife going, where's my child support, you bastard?
Oh, okay.
So funny.
That's the way to put it.
Essentially, yeah. And they don't tell you about Lilith. No. They don't tell you about Lilith ever.
No. I mean, they've been bringing her up in, in some TV shows. CW is really good, by the way, for doing that. And so Lilith has come up in several of the mythological shows, if you will, or so I've been enjoying. I know exactly who she is. Yeah, I was just like, I need to learn more about this Black Moon.
Consider this. You remember Cheers?
Yeah.
Remember Frasier's wife, Lilith?
Yes, very much.
Boom.
There you go.
There's the Lilith energy.
Okay.
She's going to be heard. She's going to be very, very well spoken and very well educated and just as smart as anybody else. And she's going to have her say. She's going to run her own world, right?
Okay.
All right. Cool. All righty. So let's do this. She's gone.
I'm back.
Things like run fast enough. No, that's funny. All right, so we've kind of covered a lot of my segment already, just kind of feeding in and out of what we're naturally talking about anyway, right? And I want to kind of backtrack a little bit to what Damaris was talking about with that Aries and Libra energy, especially with this full moon going forward. And I'm speaking to you from my own experience just over this last year or so, because I can't believe it was only 1 year ago, 5 days ago, that I broke my foot in that car accident.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Right? It feels like it's been 10 years since then.
Right? Wow. Yeah, it does. It feels like a long time.
And just the whole transmutation of everything in my life since then. All right. Mm-hmm. One of them being how I relate to relationships. Okay. Because we're brought up, especially in this country and this mentality of the world, right? You have a relationship with another person, whether that happens to be same sex as you or the opposite sex of you, right? Your relationship, when we ask about your relationship, Krista is going to think about Kevin, right?
Yep.
That's your relationship. As if we don't have relationships with our kids, with our coworkers. And, you know, we have relationships with everyone in our lives. Relationship actually has more to do with our distance to and from a person. How we are in distance to them, right? Mm-hmm. So when we have a close relationship, that's our, you know, loved one that has our hearts and that type of thing. But we think we don't have a relationship with somebody that we don't like. Well, we do, right? A lot of people rent space in our heads without paying any rent, right?
Absolutely.
They live there. You have a relationship with that person, and you can shift that relationship at any moment. But that, I digress. All right. So going through this whole thing where I have redefined what relationships I allow in my life. Okay. And this is a really good one for this full moon coming up in Libra, is looking at what relationships serve you and what ones don't. Now, they don't have to be relationships where, you know, this one person is carrying you in a sedan chair on their back and, you know, with one arm out the window, waving a fan on you. You know, it doesn't have to be queen worship like that. Okay. It does need to be a little more balanced, because you're not going to be satisfied with that out of balancedness anyway, right?
No.
But you do want to take a look at, if you're the one that's always bridging the gap, maybe you need to let that gap occur for a while until they get the message that they should be picking up some slack there too. They could macrame a rope ladder. They could build a bridge as well, right? You don't always have to be the one fulfilling that gap. All right. So since I've decided to keep my distance from that one-on-one relationship, right, I've been able to see where other different relationships come in, and that how I have been in the past blocking, having to fine-tune managing the balance of all of these different distances between me and other people by keeping that one right here, so I can't see any other distances. I can't see any other people that I'm in a relationship with. I don't have a relationship with you because I'm consumed with this one that's right in front of me. Okay? So that's one of the things that you want to ask yourself. Is this one that's right in front of me blocking me from having healthy relationships with other people at various distances? You know, maybe friends, maybe coworkers, people that you go out and do things with. You know, ran into a friend this past week and he's like, hey, do you like to go see theater? And I'm like, yeah, I love live theater. And he's like, well, darn it, I wasted $25 ticket when I could have called you just to go out to the theater because the person I bought the ticket for canceled, right? Completely platonically, completely, you know, no attachments or anything like that. But I had not made myself present to him in that way because of I'm hiding behind this relationship, right? Can't go out with this other person who has male genitals because I have a relationship with one person that has male genitals. You get what I'm saying, right? So we got those to take a look at. You know, if you've got a healthy, vibrant partnership with someone, that's absolutely great. Maybe for you, this full moon's work is working with different coworkers or something, right? You know, for example, I do waitressing and I try to stay busy because when I stop, my feet start to hurt. Okay.
Yeah.
So if there's a table to be bussed, right, I'll do it. I don't care whose table it is. I'm contributing to the greater whole. But then you start noticing that there is one person that you're always bussing their tables while they're standing around doing nothing but watching you bus their tables. Okay. Now, I don't care if it's waitressing. I don't care if it's an office situation. Do you always get the slacker's workload put on your decks because they didn't get it done in time? Same exact energy. Okay. So we have to be willing to take a look and see how that's working for us and release the attachment to whatever it is that's keeping that in place. Now, for the personal relationship for me, where I've got one in front of, it's protecting me from being vulnerable to many other people that might threaten me in one way or another. And I don't mean that they're coming at me, threatening me. I'm talking about, oh, this is weird for me. This is unsafe for me. This is not comfort zone, right? Mm-hmm. That kind of threatening.
Yeah.
All right. And likewise, in the work world, right? Releasing that attachment to, oh, I've got to go the extra mile so that I'm the boss's favorite, instead of standing up and saying, look, you're paying me to do this much work and I'm doing this much plus this much because this person isn't doing their own work, right?
Yeah.
And letting go of the attachment to, oh, you're whining, you're complaining. No, you're not. You're standing up for your boundaries. You're helping the higher ups see where their money is being wasted on the person that's not doing their own job, right? And also seeing how you are being overworked and are at a bigger risk for burnout, leaving that company without a better worker, right? So all of these things, when you think them through, letting go of that attachment to how you're going to look is very helpful and very freeing and very empowering in the long run. All right. So there's a couple of things there. What else was it that I wanted to talk about releasing attachment?
I don't know.
Yeah, I told
I wasn't in your brain this morning. Sorry.
No. The other thing about it is when you're attached to things, they can only show up for you a certain way. Okay. And if you're not enjoying how that's showing up, do the work to let it go. Mm. And now when I say let it go, I know I feel the energy of people who are like, oh, like eliminate it. No, I'm talking about that it has to show up that way for you, right? What other way could this show up for me? What else could I make this mean that would be more empowering to me than the way it is now? Okay. Now, for example, here's the other part that I wanted to talk to you about: work. Okay. We've grown up in a society where, as we were younger, at least in our generation, 50s-ish, right? We were told, and we were the tail end of it, you know, you go to school, you get your degree, you get a job for 30 years, and you retire, right? And that job is going to pay for your family's needs, okay? Well, that didn't play out for our generation. Not at all. You know, we'd be with a company for 10 years and then get downsized so they could hire on somebody else that didn't have as much experience, that they didn't have to pay as much, and so on. That's right. And minimum wage didn't do what minimum wage was designed to do. It's not a living wage to provide for a family. It's not even a living wage for an individual in any state in this country.
No.
Okay? So minimum wage is not delivering on its promise. Okay. So in this day and age, because of that, and because of the federal requirements for full-time workers, including health insurance, which that's a whole nother can of worms there.
Yeah.
Employers are trying to save money by not hiring full-time workers so they don't have to pay for the golden handcuffs. So you've got to be able to mesh together 2 to 3 jobs to make a secure home.
That's not living.
No, and it's not even covering more the basics plus some, you know. If you got any fluctuation in there, it could be a really bad month for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So just in this last week or so, I went to who I would consider my primary employer, and I said, hey, this month of the year is what we call the 5th season in Vermont. It's mud season. All the snow is melting, coming down out of the mountains. The rivers are swelling and everything's muddy. Okay. So there's no snowmobiling. There's no skiing. And it's not quite ready for ATV and camping season yet. So in that particular industry, it's dead. There is nobody coming in, nobody leaving tips, nobody doing nothing, right? But they're shifting into the summer season elsewhere. For example, yesterday I helped out opening the barn at Lakota's Wedding Barn in Cambridge, New York. So I had gone to my employer, my primary employer, and I said, hey, would it work for you if I did not work for you on Thursdays this month? And he immediately went into our traditional view of our relationship. But you're here so that I can go do these other things. That was not a concern for him, that I'm talking to him because I'm not making enough money to survive this month this way. I want a day I can go do elsewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was really disappointed in his initial reaction to my request, but I released attachment to it, right? Mm-hmm. It is what it is. It's not a done deal one way or the other yet. What else is possible? How good can this get? Mm-hmm. The next day I come into work and he broaches the conversation and he says, look, I'm going to schedule you off for Thursdays for the month of April only. All right. Now, what can you do for me on Saturday, April 29th? So long story short, we negotiated. He's going to a food expo. I'm covering the entire day at the store so he doesn't have to worry about anything. And that, my friends, is workability. Okay. Yeah. Now, with that extra day and with another day that I chose to take off, that's supposed to be my second day on my weekend, I will be working for opening the barn. I'm not even doing catering. I'm not doing any events. I'm just helping the venue open for their beginning events. And I'm making 50% more than this original employer can afford to pay me. Right?
Wow.
Yep.
And then it will go back as soon as spring has sprung and the campers are in town and the ATV riders are in town and we're doing a brisk business up at the store again, back to my original primary employment schedule. Yeah. Okay. So when you release attachment to this is how it's got to look because this is what they told me in first grade, right? We actually gain access to all of the other possibilities that are out there.
100%.
And we can increase how we show up in the world, and how we receive as a result of that showing up. Okay. Yeah. So that's and I know we're over and we've gone long and I still have 2 little bits to do, but I really wanted to give you some concrete examples of what it looks like when you let it go. Because letting it go is not, oh, fuck you, you do your own thing, right?
No, I think it was a perfect example.
It was. It's a really good example of that.
Awesome. Yes. Awesome. So if you need any help or any guidance on working that out for yourself, please reach out to any one of us. We can all speak to, releasing attachment and what it can make available for all of us. Now, here's the thing. Today's card of the day.
Ace of Pentacles.
I love the Ace of Pentacles. This is an opportunity. Oh my gosh, the beginning of this opportunity. Now, like all aces, you have to grab that opportunity and take action to make it fulfill itself. It is the seed that is planted for what happens in the future, right? All of the things that you want in the future. Now, it could be working in the garden. It could be starting some seed trays so that you can transplant in 2 weeks or so, whatever. Or, starting to save money for a particular thing, arranging your living space in a new way, or doing something else that takes you closer to a future goal. All right. Sometimes that thing that takes you closer to a future goal is releasing the banana so you can get your hand out of that goddamn cage. Okay. All right. And specifically in this area, because it's the Ace of Pentacles, it's about security and abundance. All right. This is the beginning of a step up, or at least the opportunity for a step up for you in the realm of security and abundance. All right. Real concrete growth is possible. Now, this is just the beginning of it, but it's the chance to improve your health, a gift that you can use for further gain, money that you can invest in your future, new job opportunities, or even a chance for a promotion. Now, this is also a good time to spring clean, purge, get that shit out of here, and move forward with new space for new shit to show up. Good shit, Awesome. Awesome stuff. All right. Don't overlook this gift. Take action today to get you closer to someplace that you've always wanted to be. All right. Now, when we want to say congratulations to today's winner of this week's Woo Woo giveaway, Helga Lagrange, however you pronounce that. I apologize if I butchered it. Thank you so much for being part of the Coven of Joy. For you or for anyone who doesn't know what this is all about, every week we give away a 30-minute reading from one of us three Crones. All right. If you pick me, it will be an intuitive tarot reading. If you pick Miss Krista, it will be a crystal reading. And if you pick Miss Damaris, it will be a numerology reading. Yeah. So all you got to do, Helga, is pick which one of the readings that you would like to get, reach into the messenger of the corresponding crone and say, hey, I picked you. Get me on your schedule. And we will do that as soon as we can. Awesome. All righty. And of course, for everyone else to let you know, we have begun our Monday Crone hours. And yes, all three of us have hours on Monday to serve you. Krista, do tell us about it, please.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. I'm so glad you threw me under the bus for that.
Looking.
No worries. Hey, I was just trying to respond to people. All right. No, the Monday morning Crone hour or the Monday Crone hours are for any of you who would like to book a session with either Gayle, myself, or Damaris. Of course, Gayle's going to be doing intuitive tarot reading. Mm-hmm. Me, myself, I'll be doing crystal readings, or you can get a oracle card reading from me also. And Damaris is doing, what are you doing, Damaris? Numerology. Awesome. Yes, I was going to have to confirm before I pop that into something for you. But yeah, reach out to us and book. You can either book by emailing 3cronesinthewoo@gmail.com or just direct message one of us.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Very well done. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And to continue on that gratitude, I want to thank everyone who plays a part in the Coven of Joy, in 3 Crones in the Woo Woo, in the podcast, in the group, all of it. Thank you so much for being part of this. From us 3 Crones, from our past sponsor and supporter with Class Act Imports, Sue, and all of you that show up every week and share out our stuff and encourage others to take part and to join the group. Thank you so very much. We could not do this without you, and you are very precious to us. So don't ever forget that. And we look forward to seeing you again next week on Tuesday, and then again for the Amethyst Patreon members. It was Helga.
I know. I was trying to fix it. Autocorrect.
Oh, gotcha. So yes, definitely. And join us with the Amethyst level of Patreon for the Moon and Woo on the 10th. Yeah. Thank you again. Take care, everybody, and have a great week.